Hey, good afternoon, Dan. Dan Gutierrez. How you
Marty
doing?
Keller, how are you?
Doing great, thank you. I'd
All
like to
right.
welcome everybody to our Intentional Living podcast, the Marty and Dan show, or the Dan and Marty show, as you might prefer. In this podcast, we are following the wisdom of Socrates, who said, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And we see the accountability practice as a way to help any of us, all of us, create the kind of lives that we would like to live. And instead of being dragged down or compelled by old thinking, sometimes old thinking or feelings that we're not even necessarily conscious of. And so today, what we want to do is talk a little bit about the accountability tree and the heart of the accountability tree, which is about our truth. And so I'm going to bring up on our screen here, I'm going to bring up a picture of the tree, the accountability tree, and talk about that little five letter word there right in the middle. It says truth. So what's that all about, Dan?
Well, the truth is, I get this is one of the biggest questions I get about this whole process is what is my truth? And that's a good question. Um, and
So
based on
before we go there, if it's okay, would you again for the person coming for the first time, like, just give a quick overview of how we're get how that's part of this whole process.
Okay, so based on our model here, the accountability tree. So when I can become when I can state the data about my behaviors without blame or judgment, it that puts me in my truth. When I can state the data about my participation in relationships to people, places, and things without blame or judgment, that puts me in the truth. When I can be accountable for the state, when I can be accountable, accountability is my ability to state the truth about my behaviors without blame or judgment. And that then puts me in the truth. The truth of when I can be in the truth, where I can state my truth, that's usually there's a part of me in my subconscious that phrase, that statement, that energy that I reveal or I express is a way for me to validate the trauma, my my family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma, um, and that gives me access to changing the subconscious pool of information that I've been working from that I haven't been aware of. And stating that truth is the start. It allows me to access my subconscious in a way that I can change it by stating my truth.
So you say stating the data about my behavior. So is that any behavior? Are we talking about what are we talking about when we say behavior here?
Um, Behavior is anything that I participate in, anything that I do, whether it be an acknowledgement of my value, my worth, uh, my happiness, or my you can use it state the truth as a character defect. Uh, Popular ones are I'm arrogant, entitled, cruel, uh, or I find myself living. I'm in fear. Uh, I don't feel safe. Um,
So we're
I'm
not even
hurt.
so we're talking about more than behavior. Then we're talking about feeling states, right?
Correct. That's the truth. It's where I find myself, my current reality.
Okay.
That's another term that we can use. Um, for me, it's where I find myself being mindful and I'm acknowledging where I'm at in the moment. Um,
So could
I
you
can
could you demonstrate that for us right now? Like, okay, so where are you in the moment right now?
right now to be accountable for where I'm at in the moment. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling I'm feeling nervous, and I'm feeling activated. I'm feeling like yeah, I'm feeling activated. I'm in I'm I'm feeling activated, right? I'm nervous.
Okay. Are,
Um,
are you open to my sharing, being accountable for how I'm feeling?
sure.
So I'm feeling a little bit of some kind of agitation in the upper gut, just below my solar plexus. It's a 3 or 4 on a 10 scale, maybe. Um, I feel some goosebumps. I feel some goosebumps in my hands and my legs, and um, and I'm excited. I'm feeling excited. So we just wanted to share with the people, those of you who are watching this, that's what we're talking about when we talk about the truth. We're just talking about what's going on with us in the moment. And you see those 2 words above the word truth there on the trees is no blame, no judgment. And I think that this is a really tough thing for many of us. I don't know, Dan, what you think. That I'd like to know. But for me, when I first started doing this work, I had so much judgment of what's supposed to be right to feel or think or behave that it got in the way for a while. I had to really work hard at stepping outside of judgment, even just temporarily, so I could try to do this work. What's your experience with that?
Yeah. Being accountable, the word accountability, you break it down, uh, it's my ability to account, right? I'm keeping the books of what's going on. Um, when I can have the ability to account for my behavior, how I'm feeling, my attitude, without blame or judgment, which is you if I can do it with practice and learning how to not be judgmental about where I find myself, or I shouldn't be that way, or they made me feel this way,
Right.
right? So if I can stay out of the blame and judgment and just state what I want to be accountable for, my current reality, my present state, I'm afraid. I'm feeling afraid. Okay. Without blame or judgment, I shouldn't feel afraid. Uh, you know, I'm old and I shouldn't feel afraid. I should have this figured out. Somehow or another, it's my fault that uh, I can't do this,
Right.
you know. Um, takes me away, takes me out of the truth. It gets me back into the story. And when I'm in the story, I move further away from the truth. So when I state my truth, I'm afraid. I take a deep breath, and then I create the intention for what it is for the state that I really want to be in. And that usually for me, it's I intend to create calm, peace, and connection with myself. And so then I just go ahead and use my truth wherever I find myself. And we don't have to, the truth is not necessarily something that can be earth shattering. It's just for me, it's where I have the ability or I develop the ability to be mindful of where I'm at, where I check in with myself. And a lot of times for myself, it's been where I get activated. That's the only time that I pay attention. The truth is, I'm feeling hurt right now. Well, why am I feeling hurt? Well, I felt somebody dismissed me. Oh, good. Now I've got 2 things I can be accountable for. My truth, I'm feeling dismissed. Go through the process. I'm feeling hurt. Let's go through the process. Without blame or judgment, work the tree, create the intention for the state of being that I want. How do I want to feel? And it all starts with me being accountable not not like I have to be accountable as I'm responsible for, but it's an opportunity to it's more being a compassionate a way of me acknowledging my state of being in the moment. By stating my truth, I create the opportunity to create the life that I do want. The truth is not a barrier. The fact that I say that I'm fearful and I acknowledge that I'm fearful, I move forward and I create the state that I do want to be in. I want to be present. I want to create an environment of safety for myself. So the more I keep this is how I interpret it. Each time that I become accountable for my truth, where I find myself in the moment, I'm afraid, being emotionally or verbally violent, creates the opportunity to move forward and create the life that I want. It's the gateway, not the barrier. It's like a gate that that I perceived as a wall. Now, when I become accountable, that gate swings open, and the life that I want is lying on the other side of my truth.
So instead of a wall, it's a doorway.
It's yeah, a gateway. Yeah, a
Doorway.
doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the better, or the more that I can be accountable, I also reveal a pattern. I can also see this as data points, data, and eventually, if I keep repeating I keep finding myself in the same state, fear, anxiety, nervous, tension. That's also an awareness that I can have where I'm at most of the time. Maybe that's where I'm at most of the time. That gives me insight to what's in my subconscious that I haven't been aware of through being accountable for my current state of being. That also reveals me that hey, I'm always activated. I'm in fight or flight all the time. I see, how do I see apparently I see the world as threatening. How about be accountable for that? Okay, I see the world as threatening. Okay, deep breath. What do I want? I want to see the world as my teacher, a safe place, and an opportunity to create the connection and peace in my life. Man. So slowly but surely, through this being accountable, I influence that subconscious pool of information by experiencing my truth, feeling it, whether I'm or conscious of it or not, and creating the intention, by creating the intention, I change that subconscious pool of information so I can have a different result down the line. But
So
it all starts with me stating the truth of where I'm at in the moment.
so that's a great summary. That's good. I want to point out to the listener, the watcher, when Dan and I did a check-in of showing how to be accountable in the moment. What's our truth? And Dan said what he said, and I said what I said. I just invite everybody to notice that we didn't explain it. We didn't we didn't say, oh, I'm feeling this because of that. No, to be in the truth is really to just be as stark and direct as we can about what's going on. For me, I start with my body. I start with how I'm feeling. I think you'll notice that both of us did that. Sometimes we might be agitated, or as it says in the copy of the tree that we looked at earlier, it might be a behavior. I might have just said something that was sarcastic or nasty or off-putting. I might have given somebody the finger on the freeway, whatever. So that's a behavior. Those are things that I did. But I think it's important to recognize that regardless of what the behavior is, there's always an accompanying feeling or emotional state. And for me, in doing the accountability tree, I want to get to that feeling as quickly as I can. And again, something I had to learn. I had to teach. I'd not just teach myself, but working in a group setting with yourself and all the different folks that have come into the accountability practice over the years, and of course, working with John, I slowly but surely learned to pay attention to how I'm feeling. It's it, it's uh it's an interesting conundrum that we live in a culture that has so many distractions that can take us away from feeling, and particularly those feelings that are uncomfortable, disconcerting, feelings like grief, shame, fear, as you said earlier. Um,
Right.
but I don't know how we can actually get to this future that we want to create unless I can really be present with the this truth that we're talking about here. And for me, the truth always has an emotional resonance. What's your
Right.
experience on that?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I've learned, you know, I was an addict. I was addicted to methamphetamine. So through this process of being accountable for the fact that I'm an addict, um, doing it over and over again, one of the things that revealed itself was is that I I've been avoiding my feelings, right? Then I became accountable for that, and it's like
Because
my truth.
the meth gives you an artificial feeling that's always the same every time you use it, right?
Or it doesn't, it takes away, it substitutes a pleasurable feeling,
Right.
uh, instead of feeling my pain or my discomfort. It takes me away from that. Other people choose alcohol, some people use heroin, some people are shopaholics, or other people are gambling. It all affects the thing, it affects the human brain the same way. So when I got to that, being accountable for the fact that I'm an addict, what am I doing? So one of the things I became accountable for is my truth is I avoid my feelings. Take a deep breath. Okay, ask myself what it is that I want. So then I came up with the intention. I intend to feel my feelings 100% of the time with uh with safety, joy, and ease. And let my subconscious work on that, change and notice what's different, and keep asking to feel my feelings, so I can learn how to not avoid them and be safe with feeling my feelings, and without blame or judgment. Each time I noticed that I was avoiding my feelings, I would hold myself accountable and state my truth. I'm avoiding my feelings. Take a deep breath. What do I want? I want to feel my feelings with safety, compassion, and forgiveness. Okay. And through that, now I have the ability, through the intentions, stating my truth. Now I have the ability to feel my feelings, be comfortable with them, and know that I'm having them, and that they are the solution, a huge part of the solution, my recovery. But through the fact that I'm being accountable for where I find myself, my addiction, I'm an addict. Okay, what do I want? Take a deep breath. I'm an addict. I want to learn how. I want to live a life of sobriety. Okay, I intend to live a life of sobriety. I intend to be sober. Okay, but I got the what I wanted based on the fact of what I own in my current reality. I got the awareness that I wanted to be sober through the fact of admitting that I'm an addict. How do I go from being an addict to a life of sobriety? I state my truth. I become accountable for that. I'm an addict. Take a deep breath. What do I want? I want to live a life of sobriety, connection, and happiness. Boom.
So would you say,
That's
I have a couple questions if I could.
sure.
Over time, like going back to the first time that you had that awareness, I'm an addict, to the time like right now, has there been a shift in the emotional response that you have for that declaration?
Yes. Now I don't being it being an addict is just a statement of where I found myself in that moment. How why was I an addict? Because I was avoiding my feelings, because I was using my addiction to avoid my feelings. So through this accountability practice, through stating my truth over and over again, each time a little bit differently, where I find myself, each time I create an intention, I notice that the outcome is slightly different. Something has changed. And then based on what has changed, I can be accountable again, stating my truth where I find myself. So what's happened now over time, which is 16 years ago, what I've in this process of being accountable for that I avoid my feelings, now I can feel my feelings, and the solution has become to feel my feelings. I no longer avoid them. I don't put in a substance to change how I feel to avoid those uncomfortable feelings. And the solution has become when I feel uncomfortable or I have emotions, I take it straight to the accountability practice and I'm agitated. I'm annoyed. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling happy for God's sakes. But that all started when I became accountable for I'm an addict. And then my subconscious is working on, well, why am I using? What am I using? I'm avoiding my feelings. All right. I intend to feel my feelings and see what happens. State my truth. I avoid my feelings like the plague. Okay. No blame, no judgment. I learned how to be comfortable with my feelings through this process of being accountable for the fact that I don't feel my feelings.
So I want to really emphasize that last thing that you just said. You know, you shared that over time, the declaration I'm an addict has had a complete shift in the emotional resonance. Actually, it's kind of like there is no emotional resonance now, because you've worked through it all. But the thing that I'd like to share with those of you who are watching this is that every time Dan made that declaration, he shifted his subconscious experience of himself. Every time I've done that, one of the reasons that this emotional resonance can shift over time is because our subconscious understanding of ourselves and our subconscious experience of ourselves shifts. That power of intention, I intend to feel safe, I intend to feel at ease, whatever it is an instruction to our subconscious to start to be on the look for being at ease, being safe, feeling okay. And so my experience of this is it takes time, but it moves. It actually results in these shifts. It may not be overnight. It may take months, may take years, depending on what it is I'm working on. But the fact that we can actually feel the truth, feel what's going on, state it, say it out loud without blame or judgment, and then take that breath as Dan was doing and feel what our body is experiencing in the presence of that truth. And from that, ask ourselves, what do we want? And once we get that information from ourselves, and for me, my practice is a way for my body to answer the question, what do I want? And once I get that information, or maybe just my intuitive self, what do I want? Then I state it as an intention. That stating that as an intention is so powerful. It starts to loosen up the old configuration of beliefs about ourselves and what's right or what's wrong, and starts moving it into the direction of what our intentions are really asking for.
Right. And stating my truth is very powerful because it validates that part of my subconscious that generates all these other behaviors,
Right.
right? And the narrative that I talked about, my addiction, the truth was I didn't know how to feel my feelings. My perception, my childhood perception of feeling my feelings, it was unsafe. I couldn't feel my feelings because it would be death. Nobody wanted to hear how I felt. I would get ostracized. I would get told you don't feel that way.
Or you shouldn't feel that way.
You shouldn't feel that way. And oh, holy crap, I feel that way. So of course I'm not gonna I'm gonna move away from my feelings and hide them, suppress them, and hence the addiction. I don't know how to deal with my feelings because nobody ever taught me. So what I learned was to avoid them. And what better way to avoid them by putting a substance into you that changes your perception of the world, and so you can focus on other things. So through this process, over and over and over again, the truth, the real, I won't say the real truth, but my core truth that was driving all my behaviors, I don't know how to feel my feelings. I don't see my emotions as valuable. I see them as to be avoided. I avoid my emotions. Yes, somebody finally said the truth. And that validates that part of me that's been fighting or been having all these crazy behaviors. That's the truth. You don't know how to feel your feelings. Thank God. Finally. And there's a resonance, whether you're conscious of it or not, there's a resonance in there. You take that deep breath and you ask yourself, what it is I truly want? What is it I want? I want to be at peace. I don't want this with that, whatever it is that I have. I don't want this tension. I don't want to live in this fear. Okay, well, what it is you do want? I want to feel my feelings and feel safe doing it. I want safety in my life. And what I learned through this accountability practice and stating my truth is my emotions, I want them. They're the source of my happiness. They're the source of peace of mind. The thing that I avoided, by owning it and stating the truth, now I move toward my emotions as the solution rather than an addiction.
You know,
That's what 16 years of sobriety go. People ask me, oh, don't you think about using? And I go, no, no, I don't. Why? Well, I no longer, I'm consciously aware of the solution now, and the solution is not avoidance, not distraction, yeah. And not to say that people who are suffering from addiction, it's that simple. Why the pain is the question. And for me, it was I did not understand what emotions were and are, and the value that if I understand why I'm feeling the way I feel, and it's okay, I can feel the way I feel without blame or judgment. What do I really want? What do I really want in my life? Do I want to run around activated all the time? Do I want to live in fear? No. I want to live a life of joy, peace, and freedom. I want to create a world of safety and connection. I can have that.
yeah. In fact, I'd like to point out as our time is about to come to an end here, what you said earlier is that when you first started doing this work, you set the intention, I tend to feel my feelings just the way they are. I forget how you phrased it. And
Right.
as you were just sharing your experience, I thought, you set that intention and then it happened that you now say, I welcome my feelings. I'm open to my feelings. Well, that started, I want the newcomer particularly to get, it started because you made that intention. You said that's what you wanted. You planted that seed into your subconscious. And lo and behold, here you are after after however many months or years it took. You moved not only from avoiding feelings, but to welcoming them.
Right.
That's
But it
that's
all
a powerful shift.
right, and it all started with my me being accountable for the fact that I don't know what I don't feel my feelings.
Right.
I'm afraid of my emotions. I don't like feeling anything because I don't. Okay, that's how it started, and then I learned through repetition, creating new intentions. Uh, New information surfaced, and slowly and surely, like you said, I became to understand that my emotions are the gateway. They're the source of my ability to create safety and well-being in my life. And it's like, man,
Yep. Well, that's
and
the
he acknowledging that I avoid them.
right.
So
Well,
that's
that's all we have time for tonight. I want to again point out we started to talk about the truth. What is the truth in the accountability tree, that the diagram we put up at the beginning of the conversation? The truth is the heart of the way we create changes, like acknowledging the truth, stating the truth. And the truth is very simple. It's what am I feeling at the moment? What am I doing? What am I saying? Just being willing to speak the truth about that without blame or judgment. And that leads to what do I want once I can sit with the feeling of telling that truth, whether it's I'm an addict, I don't know how to feel, I don't know how to be in a relationship, whatever it is. Um, Sit with the emotional resonance of that, and then from that ask ourselves, what do I want? What do I want here? I want to learn. I want to learn how to be in relationship. I want to feel my feelings, whatever that is. And then we state that in the form of intention, and that's an instruction to our subconscious, and things begin to change. We do this work in group settings. So those of you who haven't had a chance to participate in any of the intentional living meetings, at the end of the podcast, there'll be a list of 4 different meetings that Dan facilitates, I facilitate, a couple of our colleagues facilitate, different days of the week, different times of the day, all on Zoom. So if you'd like to participate, please feel free to come by and get a sense of how this works in a group setting. So Dan, thank you very much as always. Uh,
thank you.
Pleasure to work with you on the accountability practice. We'll see you next
Thank you.
time.
You bet.